Hello gamers, and welcome to a Division 2 tournament match between Von Luzzi and Sqwrrol. Sqwrrol is part of the Kingdom of the Noobs by Hobo Tango, and it's the rookie tournament of April 22, and they play against each other. And I'm going to show you their first match, which is supposed to take place on Orsha North. And it's the 5th Cav for Von Luzzi against the 6th Airborne for Sqwrrol. It's a Maverick mirror. And yeah, the 5th Cav is pretty good. It's, I think, one of the best divisions in the game currently. You get really nice recon options. He brings even the R2 tank, which is super slow. Interesting. He also brings the Aufklärer basically, and you get lots of sniper units. The Celarasi, they have like AT capabilities as well. Infantry tab, you get a lot of stuff. For example, the Rossiori with their anti-tank rifle, the Kalari, it's like the Pioneeri Kalari. He went for the Panzerschreck commander. There's some Rossiori assault, there's a C-phase card of Rossiori as well, everything single vetted but the anti-tank rifle Rossiori. Tank tab is pretty poor. He brings unvetted Stuks in B and the Stuk 3 Führer, possibly to upvet them. He has to come single vetted. And then here Schwarzlose, they are not that great. Then there's the Breda, which is fantastic. 23 rate of fire with single vet, a commander, and munitions. And then we get the AT tab, and here they really shine because they get the possibly best AT gun in the game, the Recita. 15 rounds per minute, 160mm penetration, AT shells and smoke. It's absolutely fantastic. And you get those nice small M32 guns as well. Good rate of fire. AA tab is all you need. Basically with Hotchkiss, Bofors, Vickers, you can survive a match with that. He only brings the Hotchkiss upvetted. In the artillery tab, he brings the 60mm mortars. You get a lot of them, and the 60mm mortars are actually quite great because you can use them for defensive fire, and the range is 1.8 kilometers, so they are not as hard to micro as those smaller 40mm mortars in the support tab. I think it's 40mm with 540 meters range. And the off map here as well. It's a plain off map. But you can also use it as a cluster bomber afterwards, which is pretty cool. HE cluster bomber. The OB M30 is a pretty decent artillery piece. It even has heat shells. So 40% accuracy, rate of fire is not so great, but radio. Air, he brings one card of the IAR 37. They're pretty cool because they've got HE bombs, Recon and HE bombs. It kind of basically forces your opponent to bring some AA or fighter. He goes for the HE rockets, the fighter, and then a bomber in B phase. Yeah, there are some cluster options as well. Most likely he adjusted it to the 6th Airborne, possibly. Yeah, so that's his deck. Let's take a look at Sqwrrol's deck. Sqwrrol went for 6th Airborne, and they were regarded as one of the best, if not the best, divisions in the game. So hardly anyone ever played them because they always got banned. Basically you get snipers, you get pathfinders with AT capabilities. Oh no, it's flames actually. Yeah, it's flames. You get the Tetrarchs and the Little Johns. So lots of shenanigan clown cars. He even brings them in C phase. Upgraded, but I mean, look at that, 130mm penetration. And that's actually pretty damn cool. The glider crew, cheap rifle squad, leaders in A-phase, lots of obviously radar traits, pars. I'm not super familiar with them because I've kind of never played against them, maybe twice. The Tetrarch, you can really spam your opponent with Tetrarchs. They are so cheap, 75mm penetration, really decent. Then you get the Cromwell and the Challenger. So here you can see Von Lutzi obviously knows 6th Airborne, he knows he doesn't really need cluster bombers. Here we get in the support tab, speaking of the devil, the 50mm, it's actually not 40mm, mortar, 540m range. Also a commander. The meta is currently kind of shifting towards having a commander. And the Jeep supplies, I really love those smaller supply units. Centaur 4, HE, 2km range. Anti-tank, you get your 6-pounders and a card of 17-pounders in his deck. AA, Pulsed 20mm and 3 Pulsed 20mm. I actually don't know if this is any good. Artillery, more mortars, radio 25-pounders and off-map in B. And air tab, the Tempest, super fast. I mean, look at that, 680 kilometers as a turboprop. And then the Tempest Mark V, also super fast, light payload, which means it returns to the battlefield super fast as well, and it gets in and out with 645 kilometers per hour. Absolutely fantastic. And then you get an AT rocket plane. So yeah, it doesn't go for any of these mosquitoes or any of the Recon planes, but they don't carry anything. This might have been interesting, you know, with early napalm shenanigans with the mosquito and the mosquito Recon plane. But yeah, that's the two decks. Let's jump to the action. Yeah, the rookie tournament is, as per usual, organized by Herr Robert. So thanks a lot for putting that much effort into it. And this time there are several rounds at group stage, and in each round the first game is played on a specific map. This is a round 2 match. It's the player's first match, but it's a round 2 matchup according to the bracket. And it's Orsha North. And yeah, you get like 2 kind of like CQC areas, one on either side. And yeah, for the red player, it's interesting to push into the forest or into this town potentially, and or push into this forest and then try to capture these flags. Whereas the blue player, which in this case is Von Lutzi with the 5th Cav, Maverick, income, he can kind of easily snatch this flag. It's very easy to reinforce, comparatively easy. And here we go already. Let's take a quick look at the general setup. Yeah, this is all very defensive setup here, and also this setup is also very defensive. So there's not a single push anywhere with the deployment. We see lots of pioneers here in the south. Good choice here because of the forest. Lots of AT guns and mortars, support weapons in the center. He's apparently expecting a push on the town. And here in the north, also lots of pioneers, also the AT rifle squads, and there's the Recon cars. I'm not super familiar with the 6th Airborne units, I'm sorry for that. Only one Tetrarch, and then 2 Tetrarchs here in the north. And we get the first shots fired by the Brader gun. No, we don't. Okay, he's bringing in his 540mm mortars. This is quite a micro-intensive play if you want to use them effectively. Whereas, this, like I said in the introduction, I think the 60mm mortars you can set on defensive fire and such. Lots of firefights going on here in the north. And the Rossiori basically shredding the paratroopers. Yeah. They're double LMG. And the paras, what do they have? Ox and Bucks, also double LMG. The sniper is shooting here, pinning down the Rossiori PM. And there's the first Dragon plane for von Luzzi. And he's going for the sniper immediately. See here, 55 points, so much worth it. And there has to be a counter Tempest Mark V. Yeah, but it was a very important sniper. And it forced Sqwrrol to invest his possibly first tick, second tick into the Tempest. 140 points, yeah, so he had some spare points apparently. No movement here, just solidifying. No hard pushes, sniper and Recita. The Recita actually not having line of sight. Oh no, it does, okay. This is more than enough. There's a Tetrarch, it'll get the sight shot in. Down goes the first. Oh no, the Tetrarch missed. Tempest being used for strafing duties. And actually here von Luzzi manages to snatch this flag. This is he's got units here. You just need one unit in here. You don't get that much line of sight. One unit in here is enough to not lose the flag. But here we go. It's a 13-11 for von Luzzi. A push attempt here, still in the north. Yeah, both sides are thin in the center, and now both players have decided to bring in an AA piece. Also more Rossiori in the south, because von Luzzi apparently notices that he can maybe get something here. I don't know if Sqwrrol's you know, trying to make a trap here or something, because not much is happening here. And yeah, the Tetrarch's AT capabilities didn't even work out against the car here in the north. But the cars have gone down in the meantime, probably to those parachuters with the Piat. Yeah, this guy killed them. He only has one shell left. Forest fight here. 5 Lee Enfields and the branch shooting. The Pioneers pinned down. Oh! And there are the Willipedes flying. And this battle goes to von Luzzi. Yeah, no player really has fantastic tanks in A phase to kind of support a push in the center. Yeah, now he's moving in, and actually there's the trap, so maybe that was intentional. He's now microing, I think that's microing his mortar, but it only pinned down the Pioneery. It didn't drop many models, if at all. Still 10 models here. The Ox and Bucks are opening fire. 30 points Commando Engineer Squad. And there are some paras here. They've got the Willipede. They should be able to win against the Rossiori because they don't have HE grenades. And they are pinning them down quite effectively already. in the north. A push here with the upwetted Roscioli. There's a leader now. So basically he's preparing to push in the north now as well, while still holding the flag in the south. He's now reinforcing in the south, bringing in more mortars, but he didn't even use his mortars here. So I don't know why he's bringing in more mortars. He's got 2 mortars here. Where are they going to? Okay, they're going to here, and yeah, both are going here, but this is a very odd pathfinding. One might go down actually to the 6-pounder, but the 6-pounder unfortunately was unloaded but not moved. No line of sight on anything. Maybe it's intentional, maybe not. And now von Luzzi already after 7 minutes managed to secure the northern flag as well. So he captured both flags in the CQC areas. Now obviously a napalm plane would be really nice against these infantry blobs almost. But we can only see lots of glider crews. But there are R2s here as well. They've now arrived on the battlefield. They've taken their time, but they are here now. Still nothing happening in the center. Now the mortars start firing actually at the Little John. He can possibly see it. Maybe. No, possibly not. But he must know that there is someone here. Now their Tetrarch went down. The Tetrarchs go down quite easily. Lots of units here. That was a very good drop from the Tempest though. Now the Bf-109 way too late. Is it going to do some strafing duties? No. It's going back because there's another Tempest, but there's a Bofors gun. And still he's sitting comfortably here in the houses. The Pathfinders don't stand a chance. Not sure if that's a fantastic unit. I mean, it's got the Willy Pete for CQC, but you don't really want your Rakan in a green forest, I guess. Now mortar fire in the north as well, targeting the 6-pounder. I bet the 6-pounder has been spotted by the Calarasi. Ooh. Lots of planes now and double AA for von Luzzi. There's a Bofors here as well. It is shooting, despite being so close to the green forest. But it's not shooting at this Tempest, maybe because it's too close, I don't know. You shouldn't get too close. Now these 2 mortars have been suppressed. Lots of AA now on the fields. Also the clock is ticking for von Luzzi. And he has, I think the map looks more blue than red. It's all looking very good for von Luzzi right now. Now let's see what the R2s can do. It's glider cruise only, so he has no AT capabilities whatsoever. Here in the forest, nothing. And this is a path often used by lighter vehicles, lighter tanks or recon cars and stuff, to support a push through the forest. Now first action by the rocket plane. It doesn't get a kill. Maybe it dropped 1 model, if at all, of the glider crew, so that was not really worth it. Yeah, I think rocket planes, AT rocket planes, slightly underperform in my opinion. I am a big fan of those very light fighter bombers. Now there's only 1 Ox and Bucks left standing between this army and the red flag. There's also good good leader play. All the key positions, like here in the north, in the town, and also in the south, are supported by a leader. The mortar is here, but it's silent. It's always an option to put it on like defensive fire. Now there's a bomber coming in, the Tempest trying to intercept. Yeah, it is intercepting, but lots of AA now. Both players not moving their AA, but why should they? There's no sign of artillery fire on the batteries, on the AA positions. Also, this 25 pounder is just sitting here, not doing anything. It's 13-11 because Sqwrrol managed to take back this northern flag. He's rushing towards this lonely leader, and von Lützi not noticing it. He needs to retreat his leader, but I think it'll be too late. Lots of reinforcements coming in though, including several support weapons here, AT guns. There's no AT gun here, so that's a good call because he might expect tanks arriving sooner or later. Now I think, yeah, the mortar started shooting and already pinned down this unit, but unfortunately he's not moving his units here towards the Rosjori. Off map in the north, 1410. BF-109 now strafing the Ox and Bucks. Ooh, the AT rifle, will it get a shot? Oh no, it's the Rosjori without the AT rifle, sorry, my bad. And there come the Pathfinders. I think he wants to send them into CQC, and the Cromwell goes down to the M32s. Yeah, I think yeah, it's always really a problem if you lose your flag in the compound. So in this case, Sqwrrol, who lost his compound, he didn't put any units in here. So it was easy for von Lützi to push into the buildings and open the fight, get the flag, get the tick. Nice surrender here in the north. And now they are pushing through, but where are they pushing to? And then good reinforcements here, Rosjori assault with Molotov cocktails. There's the first Stück. Again, the IAR bomber. Let's see if it can do any better now. Yeah, well, that's not impressive, to be honest. At least they got suppressed and are falling back now. Manually falling back, I think, so. Tree-Polston doing a decent job. There's a Polston here. The off-map coming down. And I'm actually going to take a screenshot soon for YouTube. Maybe here. Let me pause. Because you know the time of the... That's a cool screenshot. The time of the match anyway, because you're watching the YouTube video. And now I have a really good screen for it as well. Let me know if you think it's annoying to take a screenshot. Then I can maybe cover this, like Hobo Tango covers it during deployment. And then I can hide this. Now actually Sqwrrol managed to capture this flag. One of the AT guns went down as well. The Typhoon forcing the Stück to fall back. But that's not going to be enough to you know, push him out. He's really strong in the forest still, and there's only 2 glider crews. Nothing happening here in the center. And there was no push on this flag, surprisingly, because this is what usually gets pushed a little bit at least, or contested by 1 unit, which can often be enough. Ooh, the Rosciori. Okay, it's heat shells. The rifle squad with the AT rifle might have done some damage here. The Rosciori PM. Well, it's yeah, waiting for someone to drive this way. It's 12-12, so still tight. Unfortunately, the mortar is still silent, and also the 25-pounder is still silent. I think he should, Sqwrrol should try to use his mortars, or also these didn't really do much. And it's a point investment still. I mean, it's like 80 points. This one is 60, right? Yeah, 60, and that's maybe 65, 75. Now the Granicieri are really good. They are a very good infantry squad with sniper rifles. Now more Cromwells are being called to the battlefield because there are 2 armored vehicles. Another off map coming down, but there's no units to follow up. Ooh, nice double kill here on the R2 and the Stück 3. And 1 AA piece here went down as well. And just this Hotchkiss is not enough to deny the 6th Airborne the strike on the tanks. And here we go. Another one on the Granicieri. He was quite suppressed, but this one got pinned down at least. The Pathfinders are, I don't know. They seem odd to me, I don't know. It's like a not so great CQC unit. Let me know what you think about the Pathfinders. Are they good currently with the Willipede? Now the 2 Cromwells are here, but they are now actually not needed that much. But they can threaten the Granicieri, but it's still 14-10. There's a lonely field engineer here behind the enemy lines with the radar straight. That's good for him. He won't surrender. Ox and Box pinned down. Could be retreated, but it's dead. Ooh, and now they ran out of AG shells, but the Rosciori goes down. This should shift the front line quite a bit, but not enough to bring back the flag to Sqwrrol. Grenadiers, Volt. 2 Bren guns and Gammon bombs. They cost 25 points only. They are Belgian. Interesting. Oh, this guy's in green cover, this guy's in no cover. Schwarzlose firing, 2 Stück 3 coming, and now there's a push here, supported by the mortar, but there's nothing in here anyway. Obviously, von Lützi can't know it, and it's like interesting to see, because this is like von Lützi's B-phase Maverick push, it would seem. This was all like a slow, like a small, very decisive, slow push, and then now there's a sudden strike here in the center to maybe also frustrate his enemy, his opponent. The wrecking cars won't capture any flags though. And now there are the Little Johns coming in. And a Typhoon. They are all clustered together. This could be painful. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4 wrecking cars down. And 2 falling back. Now still smoking. 17-7 because all these flags here in the center are now controlled by von Lutzi. So it was like a false sense of security. And he's also pushing through here. There's nothing here. There's the 25 pounder that won't be able to fire. Still not firing. It did fire a little bit. It lost some HE shells. Ooh, and they are currently supposed to unload here. But I think that this will be microed because he needs them here. But then again here it will give him the flag. And there's nothing here. So maybe Sqwrrol can kind of try to push through here a little bit. There's an M32 gun. Not really targeting the road. Some air fights here. Tempest coming in. Now in the Division 1 finals, there was lots of air recon play. Lots of. I think this is kind of meta, air recon. Because if the pros, if the best players, Gonzo and Onod, best players this season played, I think there was a surrender because there was like 1 or 2 minutes left. The KD is actually in favor of Sqwrrol. He just didn't manage to hold his flags. I think the initial deployment was a bit too defensive. He needs to go into these buildings, and then this allowed von Lutzi to constantly push, and Sqwrrol didn't manage to apply pressure on onto von Lutzi, so he could just reinforce wherever he felt it was needed and continue pushing. And even this not so great push with the ABs, I mean, it gave him some flags obviously, so it worked, but lots of them were lost because they were not spread out. And that's part of the KD reason, I think. This huge loss of lives. The Ox and Bugs here actually did a great job. I mean, look at that. Naval battery. I would have thought it had taken down one of the Bofors, but that might have been the engineers. Typhoon here killing 4 wrecking cars. And then we've got the Recita doing its job, as you would expect from a Recita. This Sqwrrol was fantastic. Yeah, the Sqwrrol really performed. And von Lutzi also used the veterancy quite nicely. And I think, yeah, maybe with some more use of mortars when you push, when you know the enemy's there and you need to counter push, you need a mortar to pin down the enemy and then surrender him if possible. It's obviously everything easier said than done. And yeah, good match by both players though. And it was much closer than KD-wise than you would imagine from the, the flag count and the game match time. But von Lutzi managed to turn his losses into conquered flags, and that's what Steel Division 2 is about. get all those flags and bleed your opponent dry, or make him surrender. Thanks a lot for watching. Until then, bye for now.